Hi, and welcome back to another episode of 8-Bit Retro Refigs. And this weekend we visited the storage unit. Funny story. This storage unit and the guy that owns the storage unit contacted me over Facebook and said, I've got lots and lots of retro stuff that's in my storage unit. I need to get my unit cleared out. Can you please come over and have a look at it and see if there's anything you want to purchase off me? So that's what we did. We went over and we took a look at some of the stuff. There's another picture there. Well, the boxes there. There's lots of things in them boxes. There's Spectrums, there's Commodores, there's Atari, XE, XL. There's Spectrums. There's all sorts in there. So there's quite a lot there, and it's a little bit hard for me to do it all on one video. So what I'm going to do is spread it over a couple of weeks and put it into a playlist to go through these boxes just to show you what came from that storage unit. But firstly, if you want to see a little bit more, a little bit earlier, over at Patreon, everything goes on there first for the Patreon members. If you want to get involved, seeing some of the behind the scenes footages, pop over there. I would appreciate your support. So this week we're going to take a look at the Spectrum Interface 2 and the Jetpack ROM cartridge. So without further ado, let's get to it. So here we are. This is the Jetpack ROM cartridge, and this is the ZX Interface 2. There was two versions of these that came out. There was the Interface 1 that came out in 1981, and there was the Interface 2, which is this one, came out in 1983 at a cost of $19.95. I'll just see if I can pop some pictures up for you so you can see what they were back then on the old adverts. So this is one of the first advert for the Interface 2. What do we got? It says the Interface 2 is the latest peripheral for the ZX Spectrum system. It enables you to use the new ZX ROM cartridge software that plugs in programs to load instantly, and it allows you to use two standard joysticks without the need for a separate special interfaces. To use a ZX ROM cartridge program, just connect the Interface 2 to the rear of your Spectrum. So there wasn't very many games that actually came out for the Interface. The Interface 2 really easy to use and was remarkably a low price of $19.95. So it was fairly easy to buy too. So the games that came out, there's already plenty of choice of ZX ROM cartridge programs for the Spectrum. Thanks to ROM cartridge technology, you can run them all on 16K Spectrums, even if the original game was written for the 48K. And every ZX ROM cartridge program loads fast and flawlessly. There's no wires, no worries about program errors, all at affordable price, $14.95. So it cost you back then sort of £20 to buy the Interface, and then £15 a game. They were quite expensive when you think about it then, especially when we were looking at it as tapes. I mean, tapes were $9.99, so it was £5 more, so it was nearly half the price of another game just to get the cartridge. So if you bought two of the cartridge ROM games, you could have had 3 tape games. You get me? New releases? Yeah, okay, the tapes came out on other formats like Hit Squads and stuff like that, and they were $2.99, $1.99 Mastertronics and stuff like that later on. So $14.95 should I say, is quite expensive for a cartridge, but you do get the bonus of it loading every single time, because we know the Spectrums wasn't that fantastic at loading games, and crashing if you move the expansion port at the back very easily. So it was nice just to be able to plug it all in and crack a game up and not have to worry about it crashing and being instantly on. So apparently there were 10 games that was released. This one, the Jetpack one, was released alongside Psst, which were really groundbreaking games in the time. Cookie were a great game as well. Trans Am were another fantastic one. I don't think I've heard of Space Raiders, not sure. I wasn't a huge Spectrum fan back in the day. My love remains, shall I say it, on Commodore really. Planetoids, Hungry Horace, so we all know Hungry Horace. Horace and the Spiders, Chess and Backgammon. So they were all the games that was actually released on this cartridge format. The joysticks were quite clever as well, because you can plug 2 joysticks into it apparently. So that's quite cool. So it's basically, you know, it's a joystick interface that's got a cartridge slot on it. So let's take a look at the interface itself. As you can see, there's 2 joystick ports there. One has a nubble on it, and I believe that's port 1. But when I was playing with it and testing it, I used a Kempston joystick. I plugged it in that one, it didn't work. I put my Kempston into this one and it worked fine. So I believe the nubble might be Kempston and that may be Sinclair. Not 100%. You've got a cartridge slot pass through for the ZX printer, and obviously the part where you plug it in. This is where you plug in your ROM. You can see in there, it looks quite good and nice and clean. So that's your interface 2. So let's take a look at Jetpack. The box is reasonable, it's a little bit crushed, but I'm sure the new owner will be able to sort that. It just needs ironing. Neil at RCM did a great video showing you how to restore boxes with an iron and a wet towel. So these things can be done. The instructions are there for it, which is nice. Could do with touching up and around. Some people like to touch them up. Some people like to leave them original. I'll leave that to the new owner when I pass it on. Here's the ROM cartridge itself that's sat in this plastic. The plastic's pretty good as well. It's not a little bit battered in places. I don't know if you can see just there, but it's not bad at all. This is your cartridge itself. That's your Jetpack. And I'll just see if I can show you under there. A bit blurred, but I'll try. There you go. So them pins look very, very, very clean inside there. I haven't cleaned this, by the way. This is just how it was. But they are very, very, very clean. And the cartridge itself is in great condition. So that's his ROM cartridge. We get the little instruction manual. Registered in the UK. All the information. Basically the Jetpack game. Who doesn't know Jetpack? But all you have to do is fly around, collect the parts of the ship, build your ship up, and then you fuel it, and then you can take off and get off that planet. So all the keyboard controls are down there, but we're not going to bother with the keyboard's controls. It's far easier using a joystick rather than using keyboard controls. Without further ado, let's plug it in and let's take a look at Jetpack. Here's my 48K. This was a nice little cheap one that I picked up off Facebook Marketplace. I did composite mod it, so we haven't got the RF anymore. And here's the interface 2, and all we do with that is just plug that straight into the back, like so. And look at that, it nearly quarter the size of the Spectrum. It makes you funny with these like, interfaces. Look at that. It's about a third, isn't it? It makes me laugh, that. But they were a great system with the Spectrum back in the day. So that's his interface plugged in. All we need to do now is just lift that flap up. I'm using a little screwdriver only because my nails are not big enough, and we just pop the cartridge in. Next, what we do is we're going to plug in the joystick. So I've played this before and I know that my Kempston works in the one with the nubble on it. I've not tried a Sinclair joystick on it, but that is the one that worked last time, so we're going to use that. Give the Spectrum some power. So wow, yeah, it really is instantly loaded. Great. We all knew that from like the days of Mega Drives and things like that with cartridges and just instantly on. Even the Commodore 64s with cartridges and the Ataris and stuff like that. Back then, they all just worked flawlessly and instantly. So it's really nice to see that the Spectrum's got that too. So what we're going to do now is press any key to start. We're going to pick number 4 for joystick and we'll just set it off. The sound is going to be very, very, very quiet. So before I set it off, for those of you who don't know with Jetpack, and I'm pretty much that'll be very limited these days, is all you do is fly about, collect the bits of your ship, drop them down, build your ship up, fly around, get your fuel the ship, and get off that planet. There's other things like diamonds and boxes and stuff like that that you can pick up just to add to your score and then get off the planet. So come on, let's crack it up and let's see if this ROM works just as well as the tape image. That was a bit shit to start as, wasn't it? I wasn't even ready. Lost a man. This level's very easy like this. They all come to you really easy. The other levels get really hectic. So there you have it, the Jetpack ROM cartridge. Quite a rare thing by all accounts. I mean, as you saw in the video, there's only 10 games ever been released for that. That was 1983. So there's not a massive amount of them about. The value of them are only increasing. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please pop along to Patreon and give us a support there. And if you enjoy retro videos, please pop into the description, have a look down there. I've listed 4 other great retro repairers, programmers, YouTube channels for you to have a look through. So until next week, I'll see you until then. Bye!